feel like with all the positive, hopeful vibes going around, we haven't talked for a bit about what's on the line should we not stay on this positive, hopeful track. Joy is contagious, but it's also essential we remember what's really at stake this year. With that in mind, I want to introduce you to Julia Callahan from Macon, Georgia, who was so excited when she got pregnant for the second time in 2021. But only a couple of days after her pregnancy was confirmed, Julia was standing in her kitchen when she said it felt like her water had broken. So she went to the hospital. And despite the fact all the symptoms indicated a miscarriage, her blood test showed she was still pregnant. So they sent her home. A month later, Julia found herself in excruciating pain. She was vomiting constantly and was so completely dehydrated it was causing her heart palpitations. After multiple trips to doctors' offices and hospitals, Julia finally discovered she was pregnant with twins. And while one fetus remained viable, the reason the blood tests were coming back positive, the other was not. And what remained of that one was more or less poisoning her. Luckily for Julia, she was able to get a shot that would improve her health, but allow her to retain the viable pregnancy. As far as Julia is concerned, that shot saved her life. She said she was so sick and she absolutely could not have gone on the way she was. Her fear, which should be all of our fears, is that if the same thing happened 1 year later, after the Dobbs decision had come down, reversing the right to an abortion, she could have died. And now women all over the country who face that same situation might. Julia is now the mother of 2 healthy children, but her story remains particularly poignant because even though her life was in danger, one of the exceptions we hear so much about, she was still carrying a viable fetus. So current laws in many states would consider the shot she took as endangering that fetus and wouldn't allow it, which could have ultimately led to the death of both the fetus and the mother. This can't be what we want. It's certainly not the treatment the medical community recommends. It's not what Julie herself or any woman, especially the mother of another child, would choose if faced with the same situation. At the end of the day, we have to be very clear that our government has no business interfering in the medical decisions between a woman and her doctor. There are simply too many variables for the government to have any business making these calls. No woman should be denied life-saving care or threatened with prosecution for simply wanting to live. And we can't accept anything less. So feel all the joy you can feel right now. You deserve it. But just don't forget what's on the line. And that's women's very right to our life and our liberty. Thanks for listening.